Hey YouTube, welcome to how to build a fire in remote Alaska. So I'm going to walk you through one of the ways that I like to start a fire and kind of each step of the process as we go and collect what we need to collect to build this fire, and then how we build the fire to perfection. And there's many ways to do this, but this is one of the ways that I like to do it. And I am going to be using matches, so nothing really crazy, but it should be fun and hopefully informative, and maybe you'll learn something. So come along for the ride and let's see how it goes. All right, so first things first, we want to get something that's going to burn very well, and especially when it might be a little bit damp out. So in Alaska, we have a lot of birch trees, and birch trees have birch bark, which is extremely flammable and can light twigs and small branches very effectively. So if you look up close here, we've got a lot of really nice bark right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very thin, and this will light very easily. So we're going to get together a bunch of this birch bark. You can never really have too much of this. This stuff is really cool. And the thinner the birch bark, the better, because the easier it lights. And if you want some that stays lit a little longer, you can find some thicker stuff. But this right here should be plenty to get our twigs going, and that will help get our full fire going. Here we've got a dead spruce tree that's all dried up. And spruce trees, when the needles fall off, they get these really nice, come over here and I'll show you, they get these really nice dry crackly twigs. And these right here also ignite very well. So we'll use our birch bark to get these going, and then this will help get our next size fuel wood going. So we'll break off some more of these. That one's a little wet still. And be careful that when you're breaking these off, you want to look for ones that crack very easily. That means that they're properly dried. So we'll collect a bunch of this. Something like that. I think that should be enough to get our next size fuel going. So let's go to the next spot. Now that we have our small dry spruce twigs, we're gonna go up a step and start finding spruce like branches. And I like spruce up here in Alaska. It burns better than dried birch does, in my opinion. So let's see if we can harvest some off of this dead tree right here. So this is kind of what we're looking for. A little bit bigger branches that will create a more intense flame and last for a little bit longer. So we're going to try to break a bunch of these off. We get a good base for this fire. These have a lot of those little spruce twigs, as you can see, and we can always put that to use. So we'll break a bunch of these off and go to the next step. And now for our last size before our fire is officially a roaring blaze, we're going to go with something more about this size, okay? It's a little bigger, will create a bigger flame that'll last longer. So we'll break some of these off, and then once these are going, then we'll be able to add bigger logs. So for our next size piece of wood, we need to get ourselves a nice dead tree like this and just knock it over. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we've got all of our material ready to build this fire. So right here, we have our birch bark. That's gonna give us our initial ignition. It burns very well. Then right here, we've got our dried spruce twigs. That's also quite flammable, and our birch bark's gonna ignite this. Then we're gonna add a little bit bigger branches here, and that will increase our heat and our flame. Then I added another pile in that I did not video, but we've got a little bit bigger. We went one step more than these branches. And then we've got even bigger logs. These still aren't crazy big, but these are gonna get our fire to the point where we can then go and find 3-inch, 4-inch logs laying on the ground and add them to our fire and create a long-lasting blaze that'll keep us warm all night in whatever condition we're in. So let's get this fire put together. Couple important tips. One, always make sure that wherever you are, even if you're in the middle of nowhere, make sure that you're building this fire in a safe location where there's not overhanging tree branches too close for the size of the fire that you're going to be building, because you could easily start a major fire, especially in a wilderness like Alaska where there's a lot of trees and nothing else. Another very important thing to remember is when you're building a fire, you always start small and go big. So you start with your smallest material, most flammable material first, and then work it up slowly until you got the perfect size fire that you want. So let's go ahead and build this. And get a little closer so you can see this process. We're gonna start with our birch bark. This is a good bit of birch bark. We probably don't need that much, but hey, why not? So now we're going to break some of these twigs up and add them over top of the birch bark to start with. Remember guys, there are many, many ways to do a fire. This is just one of the ways that I like to do it. I've built fires many different ways, but hey, to each their own, I guess. Okay, so we got our little twigs on top of there. Now, before we light this birch bark, I'm gonna go ahead and add some of our next size branches just so we go ahead and get these hot and starting to burn. All right, so we got some little bit bigger branches on there. Now we're going to light our birch bark. Okay, I just got kitchen matches here. This is nothing professional. I don't have like crazy wilderness survival matches with me, but hey, they work. Okay, so we're gonna light this birch bark. Hope our matches stay lit. And this birch bark will catch very close very quickly. You can see it's already lighting up. We'll wait for a little bit and it's gonna get going very fast. So here it is, a little close-up view. It is quickly catching all that birch bark and it's gonna get this nice and hot for our next size of material. Okay, this only took about 30 seconds and it's already going like this. So we need to quickly go ahead and add our next size of wood before our small material burns up. I know you guys are gonna think I'm crazy for how this fire looks, but I'm not so much concerned about the beauty of it, I'm concerned about the functionality. If you're in a life and death situation, all that really matters is getting the fire going and getting it going well, not how it looks, right? So we're gonna add this. This is kind of a teepee kind of design. We've gotten our material burning effectively so far, and it's gonna keep doing better. So we're gonna add a little more fuel, a little bit bigger. I don't have a saw with me, otherwise I'd probably cut these a little bit shorter. But we're just gonna pretty much lay these over top. Just like so. And we've got a fire going, a nice warm one at that. And now, once these bigger pieces of wood catch, we can go out and find other stuff, kind of like that piece right there. Okay guys, thank you for coming along and seeing how I like to build a fire. Remember, there's many ways to do this, and this is just one of them. But I hope you learned something, and maybe you can go and do this for yourself. And it would really help me out if you could drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and see you next time.